One of the best events of the year so far is quickly approaching. Shadow Raikou Raid Day is around the corner. This event you cannot skip, and we're going to show you why. We're going to do a full event breakdown. We're going to run through an easy to follow guide to these Shadow Raids, including a counter guide for Shadow Raikou. And right at the end, we will discuss some pro tips to really help you guys maximize this event as much as possible. This is Shadow Raikou Raid Day. Go with us. As always, let's start with time and day. Guys, this Shadow Raid Day is going to be taking place this weekend on Saturday, the 24th of January from 2 to 5 p.m. local time, so a 3-hour time frame. But before we go any further, let's have a look at our Shadow featured Raid Day boss. Shadow Raikou. Shadow Raikou is a legendary electric type Pokemon originally coming from the Johto region and Generation 2. But how good is Shadow Raikou in Pokemon GO in 2026? Well, let's have a look at its base stats. It has a max CP of 3902, so a very strong start here, an attack of 241, very solid, a defense of 195, and a stamina of 207. Its fast attacks are going to be Thunder Shock and Volt Switch, and its charge moves will be Shadow Ball, Thunder, Thunderbolt, Wild Charge, Frustration, because it will be a Shadow coming from these raids, as well as Aura Sphere. Based off what we've just seen, it's looking pretty good for Shadow Raikou, but let's get some of these other details out of the way. The first bonus we need to worry about is that it's going to be up to 5 free additional raid passes when spinning gym discs. But please remember, if you do not do a raid the day before, that pass is going to carry over, and if you didn't do a raid the day of the event as well, that free pass is going to carry through as well, so you actually get a total of 7. The remote raid limit will be increased to 20 from Friday the 23rd at 4 p.m. all the way until Saturday the 24th at 7 p.m. but that's going to be PST time, so you effectively have 2 different days to get these raids done, especially in time zones that are ahead of yours. And a big one here, it looks like the shiny rate is going to be increased coming from these raids. Normally it would be a 1 in 20 chance, but on this day it's going to be 1 in 10 shiny rate for the Shadow Shiny Raikou. Those are the main details out of the way, but if you guys really want to upgrade your Shadow Raikou Raid Day experience, I would strongly recommend getting the event ticket. For a total cost of $5, you're going to get an additional 8 free raid passes from spinning gyms or discs for a total of 14 or 15. Remember, if you didn't do a raid the day before, you're going to get increased chance to get rare XL candy from these raids, 50% more XP coming from these raid battles, as well as 2 times the Stardust. If you have $5 to spend, I'm about to show you why this could be a raid day you really want to use this ticket on, because let me just tell you, you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck, and I'm going to show you why. But if you are considering this ticket, please consider getting it from the web store, because remember, anything you buy off the web store with your account logged in, you're going to be able to get Go points, which can contribute towards that track, and you can get a lot of premium items, especially as you progress through the track towards higher levels. Very important to mention that. And on top of that, if you did buy the ticket through the web store, you're going to get 1 premium battle pass as well. Now, as a lot of you know, this is not a regular raid day experience. This is a Shadow Raid Day, especially a 5-star Shadow Raid boss. So how do these Shadow Raids even work in Pokemon GO? Well, on this day, what's going to happen is that Shadow Raikou will be taking over a lot of gyms with a grunt accompanied next to it. Once you begin the raid with Shadow Raikou, as soon as it hits 60% of its health, it's going to enter the enraged state. What the enraged state is that it pretty much makes this Pokemon a lot more difficult to beat, but its attacks get a lot stronger as well. The only way to take away this enraged state is to use something called a Purified Gem. Trainers can carry a limit of up to 10 or 11 Purified Gems in their bag, but in order to take away an enraged state on these Shadow Raid bosses, you're going to have to use 8 Purified Gems coming from different trainers. But you're probably wondering, how do I even get a Purified Gem? You need to get Shadow Shards, which can come from Giovanni, it can come from Rocket Grunts, and it can also come from completing Shadow Raids as a drop rate. Once you get 4 Shadow Shards, that's going to equal 1 Purified Gem. As we said, you can carry about 10 or 11 in your bag, and you need 8 of them, not just from you, but from other trainers in the battle to take away that enraged state. Once the enraged state is then taken away, guys, the raid becomes a lot easier. So of course, effectively what this means is that more trainers equals less gems used. And the reason why this is important is that sometimes the drop rate can be low, or you maybe don't have enough time to battle some grunts to get some Shadow Shards back. This is why it's important to try and raid with more trainers, because as we said, and we'll say it again, more trainers equals less gems. gems. Now that we know how these Shadow Raids work, because Shadow Raikou is a pure electric type Pokemon, we need to be focusing on its weaknesses to take this thing down in the easiest way possible. The best thing about Raikou though is that it only has one weakness, which is going to be ground. Therefore, the best primal or mega Pokemon you could use is undoubtedly number one is going to be Primal Groudon with Mudshot and Precipice Blades. You will need an Elite Charge CM for that Precipice Blades. Mega Garchomp is in second spot with Mudshot and Earth Power, and it looks like your next best Mega is going to be Mega Swampert with Mudshot and Earthquake. Your best Shadow counters that you could use are going to be Shadow Groudon with Mudshot and Precipice Blades, Shadow Garchomp again with Mudshot and Earth Power, Shadow Excadrill with Mudslap and Scorching Sands, Shadow Rhyperior with Mudslap and Earthquake, as well as Shadow Mamoswine with Mudslap and High Horsepower. In terms of some budget options, you can use Garchomp with Mudshot and Earth Power, you can use Excadrill with Mudslap and Scorching Sands, Rhyperior with Mudslap and Earthquake, Mamoswine with Mudslap and High Horsepower, and an honorable mention for something like Golurk with Mudslap and Earth Power. Once you defeat Shadow Raikou, you will then get an encounter with it, and that 100% IV and non-weather boosted weather is going to be 1972 because that's going to be at level 20, but in weather boosted weather, that Hundo CP is going to be 2466 in rainy weather, because remember, electric type Pokemon get boosted in rainy weather. And of course, if you're very lucky, because of that 1 in 10 shiny rate, you could potentially get a Shundo, so the Shundo odds on this day are very high. If you've been wondering, but how good is Shadow Raikou in 2026? Guys, this day is unskippable. First and foremost, let's look in PvP. You would probably think I'd start as a raid attacker. Incorrect. In PvP, in the Ultra League right now, it's breaking into the top 100. As of recording this video, it's currently in the 94th spot. The great thing here is that it gets key wins against something like Feraligatr, Lapras, and Polion, but more importantly, your best IV stat floor here is going to be 6-13-13. So you've really got a good potential at getting Ultra League IVs, and this is actually a very good Ultra League Pokemon. In the Master League though, it does even better, guys. It currently breaks into the top 70, hovering around the 61st spot right now. Again, with the exact same moveset of Thundershock, Wild Charge, and Aura Sphere, it's getting key wins against Primarina, Kyogre, Dragonite, Ho-Oh, and of course you will need the Hundo for that because it is going to be maxing out at 3902 at level 50. Guys, already this is a very strong start, especially because this Pokemon is not necessarily seen as a PvP Pokemon. But here's the big winner here. As a raid attacker, because it's a pure electric type Pokemon, guys, Shadow Raikou as of right now is the best electric type Pokemon in the entire game, especially from a raid attacking point of view. The reason why, if we just have a look at the list here, and I'm just going to show you and highlight a few details to show you how good this Pokemon really is. You can see that its DPS is sitting around the 27 mark, which is actually really strong, but I'm going to show you, especially as a Shadow, what makes this Pokemon even more impressive. Have a look at its TDO. Its TDO is higher than anything other in the top 10 except for Zekrom, which of course is another legendary Pokemon, but the fact that as a Shadow it has more bulk than something like a Mega Magnetric or even something like a Regieleki. We know that Thunder Cage, its DPS is a little bit higher, but its bulk is extremely low, making this Pokemon very classy. As a Shadow, Shadow Raikou is the best in the game right now, and trust me, if you can get that 98, 96, or Hundo, just try and get a few with 15 attack, because that's all you really need to have a very good electric type attacker. Because this event is unskippable in our opinion, what we've done as we move on to the top tips here, and tip number one is going to be, how do I make this day as easy as possible? Because a lot of people, especially in the remote areas, really struggle to find parties, or it's very difficult to catch certain Pokemon. All you need to do is follow this protocol, and I'm telling you, it's going to make your life a lot easier. First and foremost, try and play with a bunch of trainers. This is going to make a big difference because, as we said, more trainers are going to equal less gems, therefore you can do more raids. So that's very important. If you can raid in person, please use the party play feature. This is the first layer I'm going to touch on here, because what it does in a party is that it doubles your damage, especially using these ground type attacks against Raikou. It's going to be incredibly effective if we all have a lot of ground type Pokemon attacking at the same time, doubling our damage. The second layer here is that we're in the season of Precious Paths right now, and we get bonus damage done in raids if we are friends with another trainer. What adds to that even more is that if you are a best friend with a certain trainer in the same lobby, you will get up to 10% more damage. It doesn't end there. If you want to make this even easier, please remember to use Crown Sword Zacian's Adventure Effect, which is going to be Behemoth Blade. Guys, this is going to increase your damage and raids by 10%. So if you're maybe trying to duo this Pokemon, and it's very duoable, you need to have high level counters, you need to be in a party, and you need to be trying to use this Adventure Effect, because remember, with Shadow Pokemon, their attack increases by 20%, but their defense decreases by 20%. So once that enraged state is out of the way, guys, the defenses drop and you can get rid of this raid very quickly. Trust me, these are going to be your best things from a battling point of view to help you out. Tip number 2 is going to be all about candy gains. As we know, Raikou is an electric type Pokemon, so what we really need to have in the background is a Mega Level 3 electric type Pokemon, something like a Mega Ampharos, Mega Magnetric. You could even use Primal Kyogre because it does take on that electric type when boosting candy as well as XL candy. I know we suggested in the counter guide to have ground type Megas or ground type Primals evolved here, but if you are in a bigger party of people, I would actually prefer you to have a Mega Level 3 electric type Pokemon out so you can reap that candy as well as XL candy. And let's run you through the math very quickly. Guys, on a regular Shadow Raikou catch, you're going to be getting 3 candy. If you manage to catch it on a Pinap Berry, you're going to get 6 candy. If you catch it on a Silver Pinap Berry, you're going to get 7 candy. But if you have that Mega Level 3 Pokemon that's electric type out as well, you're going to get an additional 2 candy on top of that. So guys, we're talking 8 or 9 candy per catch, including the fact of 3 guaranteed XL candy and extra reroll chances for you to get even more XL candy because of that Mega Level 3. If you do have the ticket as well, your rare XL candy will be coming through as well, so you could potentially spend this on other legendary Pokemon that you have in your bag. Tip number 3 is going to be a quick one because it has to do with XP. If you're on your way to level 80, we all know we need to get a certain amount of XP to get there. But guys, if you did have the ticket, remember, you're now going to be getting an additional 5,000 XP on top of the regular 10,000 XP. With a lucky egg running, you're going to be getting 30,000 XP per raid battle. Do not sleep on this, especially if you have the ticket and you're doing close on 15-16 raids. If you do the maths, guys, that's a lot of XP in one day. Don't sleep on it. Pop your lucky eggs. Number 4, also a quick one, slightly more miscellaneous. Guys, remember there are 2 Pokemon in the game that when you have them in your buddy, you need to complete 10 raids to trigger their evolutions, and that is going to be Hisuian Quillfish as well as Galarian Yamask. Both of these Pokemon need to be your buddy, complete 10 raids, and then you will be able to trigger this evolution. A lot of people don't even have this on their decks because it's a bit of an annoying task to complete, so try and remember to do this too. Tip number 5, it kind of coincides with tip number 1. In other words, how to make this easier for you, but not necessarily from a battling perspective, from a catching perspective. Guys, these shadow Pokemon, especially when it comes to legendary raids, are very, very annoying when it comes to the catch screen. And as we all know, those catch rates on Kyurem Raid Day were an absolute joke, and I don't think they're going to be any easier here. Guys, the shadow Pokemon move around a lot, so it's very, very important to use certain adventure effects that are going to help you out here. Specifically, Black Kyurem's Free Shock, which of course is going to multiply the base catch rate by 25%, which does make a big difference. But what it is going to do here is that it's going to keep the Pokemon still, so you can potentially hit that excellent throw a lot easier, which is going to up your chances. You could then also use White Kyurem's Ice Burn, which is not going to keep the Pokemon still, but it's going to increase the base catch rate by about 50%, and it's going to slow down the ring as it decreases, so it's going to make that excellent throw even easier for you, because throwing excellence on a Shadow Raid Day like this is very, very important. Please, a lot of people ignore these adventure effects. This is one day. Just give it a shot. Believe me, it makes a big difference. And I'm telling you, if you don't, it's going to be a very, very annoying day. Tip number 6, remove frustration. Please remember, we are in the middle of the Taken Over event right now, which means we can remove frustration to get other movesets on our certain Pokemon. And this is a perfect example of why you need to do this. So for example, 2 years ago, I spent 2 days on one weekend really grinding Shadow Raikou, but this was a little while ago. Unfortunately though, a Taken Over event wasn't live at that time, so I caught some really good Shadow Raikou, as I can show you on screen right now. All of them had 15 attack, and I'm going to power these things up because I just know that 15 attack is very important, but I had frustration, so I had to really mark this Pokemon and really do it in this takeover event, which I would strongly suggest you do the same. The easiest way to do this and to remember, highlight all of the shadow Pokemon. You can either type in shadow or you can type in @frustration, which is going to show you every Pokemon that has frustration on them. Select them all, throw them in a folder that's called remove frustration, and during this event, please remove frustration from all of those Pokemon using a charged TM. The charged TMs are pretty easy to come by. You're going to get them in these shadow raids. You're going to get them from field research right now as well. You can get them in the Go Battle League. You can get them in regular raids too. Guys, they are pretty easily accessible. Try and save a good amount of them and remove frustration from your Pokemon. Shadow Raikou is a very good example of a Pokemon you want to do that on right now. As we just said, we are in the middle of the Taken Over event. We've done a full event breakdown of the new shadow Pokemon, particularly those new Kalos starters. Please check it out as our end screen, as well as everything you really need to know this week in Pokemon Go. We release those videos every single Sunday, and you guys really enjoy those videos as well. Love you guys. Please smash that like, subscribe, and that hype button. It helps us out a lot. We really hope you enjoy this raid day. It's unmissable in our opinion. Have a lot of fun. Let us know how you do, and we'll catch you in the next one, baby. Go with us.